Are you a business owner or self-employed person having difficulty getting approved for a home loan? Are you a loan officer or a realtor struggling to get your clients to the closing table? If so, you found the right video. Hi, I'm Elias Clark, Senior Home Loan Consultant at Loan Depot. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to get those difficult deals closed and funded. So what's the biggest problem business owners and self-employed people face when trying to get approved for a home loan? Let's discuss it. The biggest challenge that self-employed individuals have when obtaining a home loan is, number one, working with a bank that is too strict on their guidelines. And number two, working with an inexperienced loan officer. You need to use a very skilled loan officer to navigate the ability and the hurdles that are incurred as a result of being self-employed. The biggest thing that self-employed people have are something called write-offs. Write-offs are the best way to not have to pay taxes, but at the same token, make it very difficult to be able to qualify. What does write-offs mean? It means that there are certain losses that are able to be deducted from the gross income, and as a result, the taxable income is less. And that is the reason why self-employed people have problems qualifying. They have tremendous write-offs. The most common and most difficult challenge to overcome is the challenge of losses that are derived from the business. But there are certain write-offs that banks or loan officers are able to add back and to offset the losses. One of those big losses is something called depreciation. For example, if someone owns a business or even a piece of real estate and they have something called depreciation, which means that because you own the real estate for a specific amount of time, you're able to, for the year, you're able to deduct a certain percentage of that real estate. It didn't go down in value, but you're able to lessen the taxable income by calling it depreciation, a certain percentage, to reduce the taxable income. But what happens is, because of the depreciation loss, quote unquote, the actual income is less. So if someone had $1 million of income, but the depreciation they were able to write off was 1.5, their actual taxable income would be negative, and that would be very difficult to qualify. So being able to navigate that person's taxes will allow that lender to be able to understand the structure of the income and not just assume just because of the negative $500,000 of income as a result of the $1.5 million depreciation, that will result in a loss. Rather, it would be added back, and in fact, that $1 million would still remain. We have the ability to discount the business by just owning the business over a period of time. It's a taxable event which allows you to offset the income, but it's not a real loss. So if it's listed specifically on as depreciation on a specific schedule, we are able to add it back. Many banks do not do that. They just say, okay, you lost money because of the depreciation expense. So you need to work with some loan officer that's going to be able to open up the book, open up the tax return, and get his hands dirty. Number two, there are many businesses that as a result of a recent acquisition had a loss. It's called a capital expenditure, that are not necessarily ongoing. And if you have an experienced loan officer, you can have them explain to the underwriter that it is only a one-time expense, and therefore it does not incur the actual reduction of the taxable income. So their actual net income is higher. Another amazing thing that a really experienced loan officer could do is there are many times that businesses have something called a net operating loss. It is incurred by say a bad debt or something that happens in the business that's able to be rolled over year. And what happens is they could have millions of dollars of net operating loss, but it's actually a fictitious loss. It does not incur, it's not ongoing. And as long as the CPA will provide a letter that it's not an actual expense and it's not going to affect the business negatively, that will not affect the ability for the business to be qualified. There's 3 reasons that you have to work with senior loan officers and experienced and easy to deal with companies, and that is, you want to make sure you can add back all depreciation. Number 2, You want to be able to offset the one-time capital expenditures. And number 3, net operating loss, to get an explanation why it's not ongoing. And I would say a number 4 that really affects self-employed people is due to COVID guidelines, that many banks have come to crazy guidelines to ensure that the business is still active. One of them being 3 months bank statements, P&Ls, profit and losses by the CPA. There are ways to avoid that and to show that the income is still ongoing and still remaining constant. So I recommend highly discussing your situation with me today. So if you're working with many lenders that are not skilled and not affluent or fluent in that area of trying to qualify people, and they come with the perspective where let's not qualify because we don't want to have any issues, then if you work with somebody who's skilled, we'll be able to see, okay, maybe we can explain this as a one-time capital expenditure. So those losses, those expenses are extremely important to look at in order to offset those real losses, and you need somebody to be able to look at the business tax returns in order to qualify that borrower. Once again, I'm Eli Sklar, Senior Home Loan Consultant with Loan Depot. If you're a broker with self-employed clients and you need to get a pre-approval, or if you're a self-employed person looking for a mortgage assistance from someone who's originated thousands of these types of loans, I can help you the same way. So feel free to contact me today. I look forward to working with you. See you in the next video.